At Mid-American Energy, we're one company serving 1.6 million people who all need energy that's available 24/7. That's why we work 24/7. That's why we make investments in our systems that make us more resilient to extreme weather. That's why we generate power from all available resources to cover the variables in supply and demand. And that's why when the power is knocked out, we work around the clock to restore power to you. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Here in Greater Des Moines, we're the unexpected sports mecca that feels like home. We are the big ballers, the little kickers, the underdogs, and the bulldogs. We've got events wacky and wild, big and small, we host them all. That old sports cliche, nobody believes in us? Nah, when you come here, you'll believe. Because in Des Moines, only the S's are silent. Let's go!
Something exciting is growing on Iowa farms these days. Innovation. From tractors that seed, weed, and harvest with data-driven precision to drones that scout or plant cover crops to protect soil and water. Even our animals live in smart homes with round-the-clock care. Technology keeps your food safer, water cleaner, and makes us more sustainable. Because what we do here benefits everyone here. Life on the farm makes everyone's life better.
SWIC is a community. Southwestern Community College is a place in rural southwest Iowa where students from across the world come to be a part of a tight-knit family, Spartan Nation, where they study, train, grow, thrive, and are called by name, not by number. At SWIC, we are one.
Different people have different needs, so Delta Dental of Iowa has affordable dental and vision coverage that meets you where you are. Small business on a budget? We have options with no employer costs. Traditional Medicare plans don't cover dental, but we do. And if you can't get benefits at work, you can buy direct from us. Plus, we give back to local communities, so you help make an impact. Choose Delta Dental for your smile, for your health, for your community.
Introducing the starters for Waukee. Number 0, Lauren Knighty. Number 1, Sydney Berrier. Number 2, Lainey Avalan. Number 5, Hannah Powers. Number 6, Tori Bonenkamp. Number 7, Gentry Williams. Number 8,
for the rest of the night, but nonetheless expected to be a good night of soccer as it's the Waukee Warriors taking on the Ankeny Hawks. John, we've seen a lot of competitive soccer all day. 3A comes into town, and we get two very familiar CIML foes.
Yeah, Ankeny Waukee is going to be a fun showdown. I'm just glad I get to be here today, to be quite frank with you. I mean, I was a little worried when I woke up that we might have a rain out, but no less. You know, the field you're not seeing is not reminiscent of something over in England after a week of heavy downpours. It's just been Iowa spring. So here we are. But no, two teams, I think, coming in both red hot. You know, obviously Ankeny coming off a 9-0 win against Lincoln, then Cedar Falls with a 1-0 win. Meanwhile, Waukee knocks off Dowling 1-0 after topping Sioux City North 4-0. I think both these teams are out to prove something. Obviously, the 4-5 matchup, you know, a likely one seed is waiting for you on the other side, as we haven't seen an 8-1 upset in any of the classes today. So we'll see if that does happen behind us. Meanwhile, these two teams, though, trying to take care of what's ahead of them.
Waukee Northwest, the 1 seed, will take on Bettendorf, the 8 seed. That game is still, I believe, about to get started here in just a little bit. So we're a little bit behind schedule on both fields, but we're moving right along as both starting lineups have been set, and we are almost ready to get going. These two teams did play earlier this season, and it was a tie between Ankeny and Waukee. Waukee, John, has tied 6 times this year, so they have taken advantage of the new rule this season in Iowa girls state soccer.
Yeah, and I don't mind the rule. I think it's fine for the regular season. Let the ties count. Everyone makes the postseason. It can factor into some things, but it also does draw in who will have the legs if we do go to extra time today, or who's got the PK horses to really get things done. We'll find out. Hopefully it's settled in regulation time for everyone's sake of sitting through the rain, but for viewers at home, maybe we'll get some extra time.
Absolutely. It is a somewhat windy day here. Obviously, it's been raining all day. High is about 60 is what we're sitting at currently. Field conditions still not bad. I think that's really what a lot of people have been impressed with, John, is that the field is still in pretty good shape, all things considering. I've heard that it take a lot of rain to get this thing flooded, so very nice facility here at least.
Well, world-class turf team at Iowa State. That helps drastically. The other thing that I love is we're not playing on it tomorrow.
Yes,
so you get a day to freshen it back up and get ready as we're off.
Waukee is in black. Ankeny is in the white and red shorts. We are underway here in this Class 3A quarterfinal between the Waukee Warriors and the Ankeny Hawks. Waukee comes in just 22 goals scored this season. They win games, and they win them by low margins. Ankeny, on the other hand, 38 goals scored this season. A very talented team on both sides of the ball. 2 very good goalies. We'll talk about them as the evening progresses on, as both teams working it along here on the near side. It'll roll out and will be Ankeny ball going back the other way. Waukee led by Josie Muehlhop, 7 goals this season. The goals are very spread out for Waukee, and like I said, they don't score a lot. It's just they rely on heavy defense. Allie Mackey, 16 goals this year. That leads the Hawks, with Ava Paoli leading the team at the assist position. Sylvia Bartlett is the goalkeeper tonight for Ankeny, and Lauren Knighty is the goalkeeper in the back for Waukee.
Lauren Knighty has played all but 10 minutes this season, 103 saves, just 8 goals allowed. She's been stellar as a backstop there for this Waukee team, and we'll see if she's called upon early and often.
She's a talented basketball player as well, as that one's kicked out. We'll stay with Waukee here. It'll be a far corner, not a corner kick, but off to the far corner they go for a throw-in here in just a second. And it looks like it'll be Stella Braddock, one of the captains for Waukee, going to throw this one in on the far side to try to get the Warriors in motion here.
Tries to dry the soccer ball off, too, to get a good grip on it, looking for a big throw into the box. Instead gets headed away, and Waukee's going to try and get back into their offense here.
Since 2011, that one misses to the left side. Since 2011, Ankeny is 13-4-1 against Waukee. So they have taken care of the Warriors on a almost yearly basis, and a couple Waukee wins thrown in there. But fun one today. You expect a good one between a 4 and a 5.
Well, and is that a mental edge then, you wonder,
Yeah,
when you've been that dominant against an opposing club?
Absolutely. Ankeny will boot that one back the other way, trying to clear here in the middle. Kick there on the back line by the Hawks. Number 18, Sophia Leffler, with the big brace on her leg. And then you got number 26 back there, Sydney Van Howling. She also has a pretty good size brace. A lot of contact there between a couple players. That's Avery Taylor in there, and the whistle's going to be called on Ankeny, so Waukee will get a free kick here on our near side.
Yeah, and I think Avery Taylor has a reason to be a little bit frustrated with that. She was being held up pretty significantly, but that's one of those battles. I think, obviously we've seen a little physicality in 1A, 2A, but 3A is where, I'd say the elbows come out a little bit further.
Absolutely. I called the game earlier. I think we only saw 4 fouls the whole game. Braddock sends this one on the way, does not get a great footing on it, and it goes wide to the right.
That'll find its way all the way back to the marsh.
That really didn't have any.
That had a massive boot on it, just well off target.
The wind has somewhat died down. There's no flag.
Don't jinx it here, please.
A flag. There's a flag over there in the far corner. It's blowing to the south now. It's been blowing to the east pretty much all day.
We'll take any reprieve of wind, rain,
Absolutely.
and cold that we can get.
Sun might peek out. You just never know. We'll see what we can get.
I'm not counting on that one, Blake. I think, I believe in the wait 5 minutes, the weather will change in Iowa, but today it hasn't.
You just never know. Waukee has a throw in on the other side. They cheat up the way, so they'll move her back. And Waukee sets up offensively with Tori Bowenkamp, the sophomore, with it for a moment. Now over to Hannah Powers. And now they go all the way back to the far line. Delaney Haviland, one of the other captains for Waukee.
It's a good job by Waukee to just kind of reset, take what they're given a little bit. Nice feed to the corner.
Sydney Burrier. It's that one kicked out, and I believe we're going to have a Channel Seeds corner kick upcoming here for the Waukee Warriors. All corner kicks today here at the state tournament brought to you by Channel. The enhanced Channel Seed brand is here to help farmers like you up your game and rise to the challenge. Learn more at channel.com. So, I can't quite tell who's over there for Waukee, but corner kick upcoming for the Warriors, who have had a lot of, they've been down here a lot in the early going with heavy possession in their favor.
Yeah, that's a nice delivery, too, into the box by Bonenkamp, sorry.
Braddock off the header, misses that one high. Braddock, she's got to be one of the taller on the team in general. That time just couldn't get her head down enough. And a goal kick here for the Hawks.
Well, and you mentioned that wind shifting. The wind's still been out of the north much of today, so teams working north to south, which is what Waukee's doing right now, have really dominated possession from what I've seen on this field today. We'll see if that sustains.
I tell you what, we got good long boots here early. Waukee D-line really holding serve and kicking that one back out to give their offense a chance, and it's another goal kick.
Yeah, and, I'm standing for this game. I've sat the last couple. I've got to say, you're starting to see a little bit of the wear on this field. You're seeing some brown spots, a little bit more of the turf coming up. And, again, it's just been raining all day, and then mix in, 6 games in total on this field today. It's going to take a beating, but they'll have it ready by Thursday.
Allie Mackey had it there for a second leading scorer here for this season for the Ankeny Hawks. She sends that one out of bounds. And Waukee will take back possession here. That one's knocked out. Now goes back to the Hawks direction, who have really not gotten in Waukee territory at all yet today, so they're going to try to change that here with a throw in on the far side. Now near side, ball down to the middle. Hawks trying to push. Got around one. Now they get it set up for Avery Taylor here on the near left side. Shot on goal. Drops down in front. Gets past 90, and it's put back in off the rebound.
A great job by Ankeny just following up on their shot to ensure that ball might dribble loose and find its way back to a foot, and it sure does.
Got a replay coming up. I'll try to get a number for you. Maybe Justin can help me out. It's really hard to tell. Number 17, Abby Steinkamp, the freshman. How about that?
Freshman finds the goal, yeah.
I'd say that's pretty good.
Her fifth of the year.
Abby Steinkamp is the one with the goal off the rebound. And that was, you got to think that there you saw a little bit of wetness. Gentry Williams, Knighty got down to the ground, and there was really nothing she could do. It kind of slipped out of her grasp.
Well, I'll tell you this much. When these gloves get wet, they are not easy. If the ball becomes slippery, as we get a ball flying through the air.
Oh, my gosh.
Nearly taking us out. But no, these gloves are made to be tacky when it's dry. And so as they get wet, they become far more slippery, and they'll just get wetter and more slippery as the day goes on. So when you see the goalies dive out for those loose balls, they've got to have firm grasp and make sure they're behind and not maybe over the top as we get another run from Ankeny.
Another shot on goal. Just going to miss to the right that time.
What a shot. That nearly curled inside the post. Just went a little bit wide there off of the foot. I didn't quite catch a number on it. It might have been Steinkamp again. Apologize, that was Allie Mackey with the shot, but certainly one of those situations where they're doing everything they can to create some space, and You know, Ankeny getting that early one can now start pushing on the pedal a little bit more.
Waukee going to try to push it back downfield with Haviland and company. Now a quick turn up down the far touchline, and it'll roll out. Battle for it on the far line. Just over 10 minutes gone by here in this one. Yeah, it looks like it's going to roll out of bounds. Going to throw in here for Hannah Powers.
Good crowds on hand all day long, too, here for 1A, 2A, and now 3A. Weathering this.
Now a bounce up ahead. A chance again for the Hawks. Shot on goal, just misses to the left that time for Allie Mackey.
She's been active early and often, and you can see why she's got 15 goals on the year. She has 96 shots, make it like 98, 99 at this point.
Yeah.
She's firing away.
She's going to take them and really step up big, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. Here's another chance for Mackey. That one gets kicked away by Mira Horner.
Blake, I got to commend you. You rocking shorts today has got to be one of the gutsiest moves I've ever seen.
When I left home today in Grimes, it was steamy. I mean, it was actually steamy, and I thought, man, you never know. And then got up here a little bit further to the north, and once you get in the cold, it really goes. And yeah, just a tough break there.
Tough shout out to these players for rocking shorts and the T-shirts in this.
That one sent down the far line and out of bounds. Waukee will get ready to throw back in here on the far line. Who, started, John, in the first couple minutes, very active on offense, and now Ankeny responded pretty quickly with a couple plays of their own. That one slips out of the hand of Braddock, who was the one to throw it in.
Ankeny's pace has been really good. They kind of just felt out those first 5 minutes from Waukee and handled the push, and then they've gotten into their set and system, and it's created some opportunities for them, and we've seen that.
Short throw in, now going to go back to the middle. As they continue to battle on the far line. Near side ball coming up here for Waukee, and that's Haviland trying to push this thing for the Warriors and maybe get a little bit of offense rolling. Long kick up ahead, headed back by Sophia Leffler. Waukee now fits it over to the far edge. And Ankeny's defense steps in front. That was Josie Mulehop, in there.
It's a big defensive play there, smart play. Obviously, Waukee, really big threat if they get that foot onto it and centered back into the middle.
Long kick here for the Warriors. Braddock goes right back to Knighty, the goalkeeper, and says, let's try to reset a couple things.
Good job by Knighty to handle that too. With the way the ball's playing off this turf, you really got to be confident in your delivery, and she cleared that away nicely.
Comes a run up here for the Warriors. Knocked around, and Sydney Burrier is going to try to come and get it with an attack from Kirsten Peterson. And it rolls out, so they'll have a throw in here on the near side.
Lots of mud out there on these jerseys.
Quite muddy.
The kits are covered a bit.
Can't tell, obviously, for Waukee, but for Ankeny, and even the previous games, we've seen the white jersey just be covered in mud.
Dirt becoming a little bit more packed and loose and flying up. Nothing you're not used to out there.
No, absolutely. None. I'm protected mostly from the press box upstairs, but yeah, I know how it is. I get home with muddy shoes. Here comes Ankeny, another attack, and that one misses to the right. I think it might have been Mackey once again. Ankeny leads over Waukee here. 1-0 is your score. 26 minutes to go in the first half of play. The winner of this game will play the winner of Waukee Northwest and Bettendorf.
It's still 0-0. They just started over on field one behind us.
Yeah, we started ahead of them, despite their game supposed to start at 5. Things kind of got delayed as the day went on. And not like any games went to overtime. It's just we've had a lot of scoring here today.
Shocking. You might have jinxed it already, but shockingly no games in overtime today.
Yeah.
So usually you get 1 or 2 a tournament
Sometimes,
in these quarterfinals, and maybe semifinals will be a little different on Thursday.
We got Channel Seed's corner kick upcoming for the Hawks. I believe it's going to be Mackey taking it, but I'm not quite 100% sure. Here comes the kick on the way. It's going to hug the line, hits the top of the goalpost, and rolls out.
You may never see that happen again.
Oh, that was a pretty good play for the most part.
Definitely don't see that kind of corner every day.
Couple IMT insurance substitutions. Learn how you can be worry-free with IMT at imtins.com. All matches here at the state soccer tournament brought to you by our friends over at IMT. Comes Ankeny on a run out, weaving through traffic. Shot on goal. Not going to get there, but Isabel Squires was right there and took it the whole way for Ankeny. Just couldn't quite put the back of the net.
Great run by Squires. Just used her speed and some space, and you want that shot to get through if you can, but really, really like what Ankeny's doing to counter.
Near side chance here for the Hawks. Ava Paoli now turns to the center. A chance kicked out. Good save by Braddock. Boy, possessions have switched here. Ankeny has really found a way to stay here on the offensive side in Waukee territory. The Warriors have not had much luck. So upcoming attempt here for Ankeny. It'll be another corner kick. And a chance on the way. Header is knocked out by Braddock. Another long ball to the center. It's going to miss everybody, and it should roll out the back. Nope. Picked up by 90, and she'll be the one to send it back the other way out of the goal. Waukee now looking for a possession here. Haven't gotten a couple in a while. Here comes a center opportunity. Now to the far line and offsides. Boy, it was set up well for the Warriors. It was a great effort by Hayden Byer on the header to almost pull that in after Josie Mulehop was the runner. So a couple substitutions checking in, and Waukee will prepare defensively here up against the goal kick.
Both teams still kind of feeling each other out a little bit, I feel like, just trying to create where they can, but neither one wants to make a mistake right now after we saw what happens when you make a little one and how Ankeny capitalized. Warriors trying to push here.
One kicked out toward our direction. Ava Paoli and company right there.
Got to make a play on that there, Blake.
I got one earlier. I got a hand on one
Did you?
before
Okay.
it hit our equipment. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to stay active, you know.
I saved a life earlier as well, so I'm with you.
They come at you quick. It's like, dang.
Especially on redirects.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of contact over there. Braddock and company cleared out by 90. And a header that brings it back the other way. It was 2-on-2 there for a second. Now they go up the field to Audrey Woods.
Waukee kind of finding a little bit of an offensive rhythm. We've felt that ebb and flow a little bit. I'd say the first 6 minutes, Waukee had it. Ankeny had it, took it back the next 6-8 minutes, and now here we are. Waukee creating a couple more opportunities the last few minutes. It's always interesting how that works at all levels. You know, it seems like teams get one shift to the other.
Yeah. A couple teams you see obviously very dominant, but here it's just kind of a back and forth as that one just off the leg of Beyer, the junior, who can't chase it down to the corner. That's 2 chances she's had, just coming up short.
Almost just want to settle that one down with your first touch and instead of trying to make a flick on it.
So chance up coming on a goal kick here for Ankeny to get this back the other way and try to get their offense rolling in the right direction. They lead 1-0 here over Waukee after a goal by Steinkamp. Beyer will chase it to the other corner. These things got some carries on them, John. I tell you what, there's no short kick here.
Nope. And then mix that with the skip instead of the kind of grab by the turf.
It's all just
it's going to keep going.
Yep.
I will say, though, once it gets rolling, it's not like the turf on the artificial where it just keeps rolling.
Yeah.
No.
Well, the bounces have been different today. You'll see it bounce off the grass a little bit different. It'll spin.
Oh, yeah. It's been a goalie's kind of biggest test, especially in a season where they probably haven't had to play through too many games like this.
That's what I was just thinking. I don't know how many, if any, rain-type games that these two teams have seen this year.
Yeah, probably not many. I don't think we've had any rain games that I've called it at the very least.
We've had a pretty dry spring for the most part, at least early part of spring where a lot of these teams are playing their most soccer.
And next thing you know will be baseball, softball season.
Yeah. Tough header between those two. Now they stay with it and go along this near side. Ankeny trying to go on a run out here. Isabel Squires and company. Got that one taken away by Waukee's Tori Bowenkamp. It goes all the way to the corner. They're going to play games over there. Squires hits the turf, and it's knocked out by Bowenkamp. Nicely done.
It's a big battle, and obviously if you can win that one as a defender, that's your goal, is keep that out of the 18.
That one's going to roll out, and it will be a goal kick. So Waukee will get it right back and try to go back the other direction. Again, it's been an Ankeny, I wouldn't say dominant first half, but a majority of the possessions have been in Ankeny's favor as a couple more IMT insurance substitutions check in for both teams. So a couple come out with under 18 minutes to go here in the first half, with Ankeny on the board first, 1-0, as Lauren Knighty will kick this one out of the goal. Ball coming to us here on the near side with Lauren Knighty, or excuse me, Sydney Burrier. Ankeny will just kick this one out. Knowing their numbers, try to get a couple more girls back. Audrey Woods and company over there.
Yeah, I think if you're Waukee, you might want to play a little bit more to feet if you can. I know the spatial pass might be the game that's worked for you throughout the season, and you don't want to drift too far away from it, but playing to feet in this weather is really going to give you more connectivity and better opportunity.
Ankeny will work this one up the near sideline. Now here's Gentry Williams back there. That one sailed high and long and in. Oh my goodness, what a goal for number 6, Tori Bowenkamp. How in the world did she do that?
She looked as stunned that found the net as we did. That goes upper 90, and there's absolutely nothing that Claire Close could do about it. She just couldn't reach it. What a beauty.
John and I got to get close over here. Take a look at the replay. So there's the kick up, and then a stop by Bowenkamp, and she just lets go.
Goes upper 90.
It just catches.
She looked stunned.
That was unbelievable.
That dropped in. You know, and I think, again, goes back to playing it to feet, right?
Yes.
Instead of playing it to space, play it to feet and then have a go. Test goalkeepers. It's a tough day. It's tough to read a ball off the foot, especially with some wind. And now Waukee's got some life in them, and you're starting to see that energy kind of pick right back up. This next few minutes is really big for both teams.
This next 16 minutes here before halftime is going to be big. A lot of momentum here for the Warriors. I don't even think the bench knew it went in for a second. They just saw the net move in the back. What is that
quite
goal on the air for Tori? That is just her second goal of the season. She's a midfielder, so she's, you know, it's not like she's going to be shooting a ton.
Sophomore too, mind you, and yeah, it's that was just a beautiful strike and one of those where coach says why not, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Near side here for Waukee. Here's Hannah Powers. Going to knock this one upfield. Her and another Ankeny player went down. And the greatness of that goal, Waukee had never really gotten close to the goal anyway for a good shot. And
right.
So they'll take that from so many yards out.
We'll say we're starting to see feet slide out a little bit more now, and the turf give a little bit more. And so something to keep an eye on there is bad footing could lead to bad plays.
It has been amazing the field has taken as much as it has today, considering all the rain we've gotten.
4 games already. It's got a game and a half left on it.
Absolutely.
It'll be interesting to see how that last game of the night holds up, too.
Johnston and Ankeny Centennial over here on this side. 2 very good teams.
CIML well represented this year.
It is.
As always.
I believe all but 2 teams, all CIML here in Class 3A, so very impressive. Waukee Northwest, obviously the team to beat. Still no score over there between them and Bettendorf.
That's correct.
We
can't really see the scoreboard.
It is hard to see. I'm spoiled over here. This is really nice having it over here in the corner. Obviously, the championships will not be played on this field. The field that they will be played on is where soccer actually plays. Iowa State soccer does. And semifinals will be back here on Thursday. You can catch those here on the Girls Union Digital Network.
Championships broadcast across Iowa PBS.
Going to be a good one. A lot of storylines to follow, that's for sure. Dallas Center Grimes, I believe, going for a 4-peat.
They took care of Pella with ease today.
Yep. Waverly Shell Rock looked really good over Indianola.
Boy, that DCG Xavier game is going to be a good one.
It is.
Xavier put up a 10 spot on Bondurant Farrar today.
That's a 6 seed. I mean, that's a 3 and a 6 seed. And we saw it with Xavier in basketball, John. They play a lot of big schools out there. So then when they get to the state tournament, like they were in basketball, they were an 8 seed. Everyone's like, oh, my goodness.
They're well prepped.
Went out and won the whole thing. Free kick here for Ankeny. Sophia Kephart keeps it on a low liner, and Braddock jumps in front of it to clear. Now Ankeny's got 2 on 3 here. That one Ankeny player got dinged in the knee. Here comes a one-on-one opportunity. That's cleared out. Nicely done by the Ankeny back line. It'll roll out of bounds and be Waukee ball.
You're starting to see the players recognize the field conditions, too. They're watching their feet as they're
We're not seeing as many aggressive slides, yeah. And especially you got a couple girls here on Ankeny that have massive knee braces. They're definitely not going to be over-aggressive. That ball landed somewhere. I'm not really sure where.
Found its way between the 2 team tarps over here on the right.
Teams are covered. You'll see it here on our right side. The teams are covered here from the elements. We'll see if that stays for Thursday. I assume it will if you put out concrete blocks, you'd assume. But
I think it will. I think they'll keep the teams in the shade. And,
Yep.
I actually think it's a great setup for the teams,
Absolutely.
whereas at County, you had to set up your tents during warm-ups, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's a great setup for them.
Last night had a game at Mediacom. We took water breaks for the first time this season.
Wow.
The first game, at least, took a water break every 20 minutes. So
it was a toasty night last night.
It was. It was very toasty. No doubt about that. Shout out Audrey Woods of Waukee. Walked by our cameras and didn't want to walk in front of our cameras despite her trying to check in.
Took a hesitation. There's really nowhere to go.
It's
but
I appreciate the thought. That was really nice.
You get some that want to duck.
There's a low liner dropped on by the goalkeeper, Sylvia Bartlett. 21 saves this year for Sylvia. And she'll boot this one back the other way. Also worth noting, our cameras are underneath tents, so if you see any big drops on the screen, that's not really what's happening outside. Out now, it's really just misting. Thankfully, we've kind of moved to the misting portion of our radar.
Still doesn't look fun, Blake.
No, not at all, but definitely not the big raindrops that we were seeing. I was watching this morning from home, the Hudson and Des Moines Christian game. Andy and Austin were on that one. I'm like, man, those are pretty big water drops.
Yeah.
That one gets behind the defensive line, and jumping down on top of it is Bartlett.
They should be up at a higher perspective, I believe, by Thursday.
Yes. Insurance says we can't go up there when it's raining.
Well, I don't blame them.
I don't either. I wouldn't want to subject our camera people up there.
I don't think our camera people would
No,
want to be
not
up
at
there
all. Not at all.
More or
the
less.
The tricky part is getting up and down, honestly.
Yeah, and that's where the hazard is.
Under 10 minutes to go here in the first half. 1-1 is your score. I talked about it earlier, but these two teams did meet earlier this year, and it was a tie. Obviously, you can't tie this year.
Thankfully, they don't have hockey rules where you just play until someone scores the next goal.
Play. Yep.
And we'll go to PKs if necessary, but we're still here in the first half of action. Plenty of soccer ahead of us.
Crowd on the other side gets that one picked up, and have a throw in over there for Waukee. This thing's kind of gone in waves. We've seen the action pick up, and they'll slow down, then it'll pick back up. I will say Waukee has now had the ball on their side, which you talked about it, John. It's just kind of sometimes you'll go either way. Waukee seems to have majority possession at least the last couple minutes.
Yeah, it's the ebbs and flows of a soccer game. I do think, to your point, Waukee's kind of settled now back into their system after getting that goal. They haven't played with panic, but I think playing with a little desperation is a good thing for teams. You play with some urgency and some purpose, whereas sometimes you're not fully engaged early on in a moment.
Near side ball here. Now Waukee going to go to the far line. They tried to get it over here to Sydney Burrier, but Ankeny's able to get in the middle and recover. That one's kicked out of the back line, and it will be a goal kick here with under 8.5 to go. Second to last game of the day, we'll have Ankeny Centennial and Johnston coming up after the conclusion of this one. I believe the 3-6 matchup. Ankeny Centennial has been very good this year, a high-scoring team. Centennial upset Ankeny at the beginning of the season in the doubleheader. I had a chance to call that one.
That one got some headlines, if I remember.
Yeah, it did. It was a big game. 3-0 shutout against Ankeny, who was number 1 at the time. And that should be worth noting. For the first couple weeks, Ankeny did sit as the number 1 team. And then Waukee Northwest took over. Somebody trying to get an advantage here in the last 7.5 minutes. And boy, what an advantage it would be to go into the locker room up 1. Here's a chance, but cleared out by Gentry Williams and company. It will be Ankeny ball with a throw-in on the far line.
I think Presley Sullivan wanted a call there. She got shouldered off just outside the 18 at the top of the box. on that little try and give and go.
Well, and we talked about it, Thomas and I, in my first game today, John, that, as an official, a lot of girls are going to hit the ground because it's a wet grass. So how much do you really want to look at contact? And you don't really want to be the guy that calls fouls every time a girl slips.
Right.
Because she might slip or she might get pushed. I mean, it's a tough call in the moment. But
got to toe that line a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Certainly.
Byers trying to do work on that far line. Josie Mulehop kicks this one ahead. And now a possible opportunity, but Ankeny's there to recover and clear it back the other way. Now back over to Lila Putz. Up against Kyla Schopfeld. Steinkamp was up there for Ankeny. Haven't called her name since her goal, but gives Ankeny a shot here as Waukee kicks that one out.
Ankeny hasn't really had a scoring opportunity or even a shot on net since that goal. They had one other maybe close opportunity. Otherwise, Waukee's gotten possession going back their way and really hemmed in things and tightened up their back line.
Ankeny throw in over there. In just a moment here. Trying to put one on the board. That one's covered up, though, by the Warriors. Now Waukee will try to push. I'll tell you what, Ankeny's got the speed, though, to recover on any breakaway. This one knocked our way by Hannah Powers.
That's going to be a little too hot, and that'll skip down to the corner. I don't think she's going to catch it I'm guessing, but she kept it in.
Yeah, Burrier got the advantage. It's a Channel Seeds corner kick upcoming here. So Waukee will have a corner kick upcoming. And a chance to try to take a lead here with 5 minutes to go in the first half.
Looks like it's going to be Tori Bonenkamp delivering here.
Kick on the way, headed out by a Hawk, and it'll go back to a corner.
Bonenkamp again, and she's got the big leg. We saw it on the goal.
That was Sydney Van Howling who got in there and got the header for Ankeny. So they'll try again here. Waukee's only got one close to the net. Clock ticking down here. Here comes the kick. Another chance. High above everyone else. Drops on the ground. And hopping on top of it. Nicely done by Sylvia Bartlett, the goalkeeper.
Josie Mulehop wanted a call there. She felt she got taken down in the box and got up looking for a whistle, but
it was a close call.
To no ire.
Had a collision over there between a Waukee and an Ankeny player. Now back the other way. A chance here for the Warriors. They got a 2-on-1 advantage. Here's a turn and a fire. Not going to go that time for Audrey Woods, who got a good look at it with the right leg but couldn't quite finish.
Comes up a little bit gimpy after that play.
Getting up after that one. 3.5 to go.
She'll have to shake that one off as
here comes Ankeny back the other way.
That's got to
no whistle.
To me, that's got to be a call though.
Yeah, that was
all
collision.
body.
We play on though. Waukee back the other way.
I'm all for letting them play, but there's got to be an attempt on the ball at some point in this. You can't displace somebody like that.
Oh, and Kirsten Peterson was the only one up for Ankeny. I mean, she was going to possibly have a chance at a goal as that one drops into Lauren Knighty's lap. And a heck of a leg for Lauren.
Under 3 to play here, and really this game's settled back in a bit.
Waukee trying to methodically move through the middle here. Here's a shot on goal that misses to the left. The whole Waukee crowd thought it went in.
For a second, it's hard to tell.
That was Emerson Woods, I believe. No, that was Lila Putz.
We had a game or goal in the, I think it was the Hudson game earlier today, where a shot went up and it looked like it dropped in, but it dropped behind the crossbar. Yeah.
The whole Waukee crowd over there went crazy. They thought for sure they had it. A lot of Waukee girls coming off. These girls are exhausted. They've been a lot of running here in this first half.
Well, it's cold like this too. It's tough
Absolutely.
on the lungs.
Yeah.
Your body's a little tighter. You know, it's one of those where you're not loose.
No.
You know.
Absolutely.
We could go try and run a couple miles after this if you want to.
No, I'll go to the gym when I get home tonight, but man, no, it's tough. If everything was perfect, it'd be 75 and sunny. That's exactly what temperatures we'd want. But
I think we'll get that Thursday, so we'll get to dial it up a little
absolutely. Hope for the best. Just kind of one of those rainy days here in the state of Iowa. But hoping that things continue to somewhat calm down here as the evening progresses on. As is it another corner kick? Yes, it is. So another Channel Seeds corner kick here. On the way, and it's behind the net.
No celebrations on that one.
No.
Just to clarify.
See, they had a better view. Our depth of perception is kind of off back here, but under a minute to go here in the first half. No surprise, this one has been phenomenal between the 4 and the 5 seed. Waukee and Ankeny, two CIML foes going at it here. There's a high boot. Bartlett comes up, drops it through a lap, but jumps on top of it. Waukee's luck on those aren't too bad. You might as well just keep trying them.
Especially with the wind at your back.
Yeah.
That wind might have died down just a hair compared to what we were dealing with. It definitely has lightened up. I think we're almost getting out of the misting phase now, too.
Unfortunately for our 2A games, they got the brunt of the rain. Here's a chance here for Ankeny in the final couple minutes. That one's cleared out by Braddock. Good call. It's going to be a throw-in, but they're not going to have much time. And as the clock will hit 0 on the end of the first half. Waukee and Ankeny tied at 1. 40 more minutes on the clock. In just a couple minutes, we'll send one team off to the Class 3A semifinals. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Soccer Tournament on the Girls Union Digital Network, presented by the Iowa Farm Bureau on the Girls Union Digital Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
Here in Greater Des Moines, we're the unexpected sports mecca that feels like home. We are the big ballers, the little kickers, the underdogs, and the bulldogs. We've got events wacky and wild, big and small, we host them all. That old sports cliche, nobody believes in us? Nah, when you come here, you'll believe. Because in Des Moines, only the S's are silent. Let's go!
Something exciting is growing on Iowa farms these days. Innovation. From tractors that seed, weed, and harvest with data-driven precision to drones that scout or plant cover crops to protect soil and water. Even our animals live in smart homes with round-the-clock care. Technology keeps your food safer, water cleaner, and makes us more sustainable. Because what we do here benefits everyone here. Life on the farm makes everyone's life better.
Fuel choice that's cheaper, homegrown, and better for the planet? Now that's worth the hype. Pump it up with Unleaded 88.
It's Frank. Frank. Mr. Frank. And just what you did now, I think you're the best ever.
In your neighborhood, there's a place so good. It's so nice to be at a store meant for me. The feeling of family, you have to agree.
Wow, thanks, Fairway Frank.
Welcome to Fairway, your Fairway family.
Freedom Tire is proud to support the Iowa Girl through their sponsorship of the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union. With 6 locations around the metro, you're never far from getting you back or keeping you on the road. Our certified staff and state-of-the-art technology means you can take comfort knowing you've got the best work at the best prices. Give us a try at Freedom Tire, a proud supporter of the IGHSAU.
Welcome back to the Iowa Girls State Soccer Tournament. Blake Walker, John Schaefer with you here for this Class 3A quarterfinal where the Ankeny Hawks and the Waukee Warriors are tied at 1 apiece. John, it's been a good one so far. Steinkamp with the goal for Ankeny, off the rebound, off the lap of Lauren Knighty, and then a long hit of a goal by Bowenkamp for Waukee, and that's where we got us. You know, the first time these two teams played, they tied, and no surprise that they've just been pretty even, and you expect that in a 4-5 matchup. Yeah, absolutely. Two teams that it's been a back and forth. It's ebbed, it's flowed, and both teams have had scoring opportunities. I think Waukee's maybe come out and been more, I'd say, consistent in their attack. Yeah. They've had a few more opportunities, but now you're going to shift the wind in Ankeny's favor as they flip halves. Absolutely. We'll see how both teams handle that aspect of things. But really, Ankeny hasn't had many scoring chances since their goal went in, whereas I feel like Waukee's been kind of knocking on that door. And so we'll see if the Warriors can break through or if the Ankeny Hawks are able to kind of crack one open and then build on it. The rain has stopped for the most part, so we'll see what happens here in the second half of action as we hope the conditions continue to dry up and things can continue to improve. Again, field conditions still not bad. You can see a little bit of browning, at least from our position, just kind of where everybody's been most of the game, but we'll hope for the best as we will take one more break and get you back for the second half of action. It's Ankeny and Waukee tied at 1 apiece. Winner is off to the Class 3A semifinals. We'll be right back. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Soccer Tournament on the Girls Union Digital Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
Hello, I'm Brent Johnson, President of the Iowa Farm Bureau.
And I'm Erin Gerlich, Executive Director of the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union. We'd like to thank you for joining us for the Girls State Soccer Tournament.
The Iowa Farm Bureau knows that strong, vibrant schools are the cornerstone of our communities. That's why we're proud to be the title sponsor of the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union and this amazing state tournament. This tournament not only showcases Iowa's elite teams, but the athletes competing here today are among our nation's best and brightest. And Iowa's farmers are among the nation's most productive. Our partnership with the Girls Union gives us the opportunity to recognize both, all while supporting and lifting up the Iowa girl.
With the help of the Iowa Farm Bureau, we celebrate students' efforts not only on the field, but in the classroom as well. The Iowa Farm Bureau is committed to your success and supports our organization and the Iowa Girl. Through millions of dollars they provide in awards, grants, and scholarships that recognize athletic and academic excellence.
As Iowans, we have a lot to be proud of. Whether you're a student competing here today or a fan tuning in, we all play an important role in making our state great. So, from the Iowa Farm Bureau
and the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union,
congratulations to your school on a terrific season, and good luck in the tournament games.
At Mid-American Energy, we're one company serving 1.6 million people who all need energy that's available 24/7. That's why we work 24/7. That's why we make investments in our systems that make us more resilient to extreme weather. That's why we generate power from all available resources to cover the variables in supply and demand. And that's why when the power is knocked out, we work around the clock to restore power to you. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Excelling in athletics takes teamwork, dedication, and a commitment to excellence. These are the same qualities that help our pig farmers and our communities thrive. The Iowa Pork Producers Association is proud to support statewide high school athletics and the student athletes who make us all proud. Visit iowapork.org/wecare to meet the people behind the pork and hear about our winning approach to caring for our pigs, the environment, and our communities.
Here in Greater Des Moines, we're the unexpected sports mecca that feels like home. We are the big ballers, the little kickers, the underdogs, and the bulldogs. We've got events wacky and wild, big and small, we host them all. That old sports cliche, nobody believes in us? Nah, when you come here, you'll believe it. Because in Des Moines, only the S's are silent. Let's go!
Welcome back to the Iowa Girls State Soccer Tournament. 1-1. Ankeny and Waukee knotted up here in the first round of the Girls State Soccer Tournament. Blake Walker, John Schaefer with you here in this one, as it's been a good one so far. Both teams very competitive. A lot of balls in the middle. Not really a ton of shot on goal opportunities. The goalies have been busy, but not too overly busy. John, what do you expect to see here in this second half of action based off what we've seen in the first half that, both these teams have scored, but other than that, there's not really much going?
I think caution. I think you're going to see a back line that stays pretty firm on both sides of the field. We've seen that for the most part that first half as well, but I think really in the second half you're going to batten down the hatches. You're okay maybe taking this into extra time or see if there's a mistake made. Again, rain's stopping, but the field's still wet, so that ball's going to skip quite a bit still. So someone might misplay one or two plays here or there, but I think at the end of the day, you've really just got to batten down the hatches, play smart on your back line, and then see if you can break through with a quick run or a quick mistake or mess up.
It'll be really interesting to see what happens here. Waukee come into the day 9-1-6. 6 ties this year, Sean. I mean, that's unheard of. I mean, that's a lot of games, and you always wonder with games like that, how do they walk away? What's the bus ride home like? You didn't lose, but you didn't win. And every tie has a different scenario on how things shook out. But, yeah, it's always interesting to see how both teams handle such things. And excited to see what happens here in this second half. Waukee defeated Dowling Catholic 1-0 to get here. Ankeny took care of Cedar Falls 1-0. Hawks making their 15th state tournament appearance, their 8th straight. Waukee also making their 15th trip to the state tournament.
Yeah, it's two teams that are just they're kind of cut from the similar cloth. They both go through similar not development but club programs. They're tied in a couple of ways to one another. So a lot of the same structure that these girls came up through the ranks with. Granted, a lot of good clubs in the central Iowa area, but most of them playing in two of the same or similar setups.
So we'll see what happens here in the second half. Waukee in black, Ankeny in white. I didn't hear. Did you say we still
0-0
over there?
Yeah,
still don't have a score
0-0
over there. Bettendorf and Waukee Northwest still knotted up. So you're 1 seed.
In a bit of a precarious position, huh?
Having a couple issues there with the Bulldogs. A very good team. Obviously doesn't play the teams that we see here in the Metro over on the eastern side of Iowa, but we'll see what happens here in the second half for both teams.
It's an interesting decision off the kickoff for Waukee. They just fire it. It's one of those where they just let it rip, and it's a bit of a strange setup because you give away possession in a lot of ways and can't really set much up. And so fine, okay. I mean, with the field the way it is, it's not a shot that's going to catch anyone off guard, especially going into the wind. So that baffled me a bit there.
Well, when your one goal comes from so far out, maybe you're like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We'll just keep trying. Ankeny going to try to bring this one up the field here. That's Allie Mackey. And now here comes a push by Ava Paoli. Paoli centers to the middle. Lauren Knighty and company, and Braddock right back there. Now in wide open territory. They can't quite turn it. A couple more in bounds. Everybody hitting the turf. And no call through all that. Every couple girls hit the ground. And despite being in the penalty box, no whistle is blown.
Well, I think our refs have kind of set the precedent that it's going to take something pretty egregious to draw a whistle. And, I didn't see anything too bad there, but good opportunity from Ankeny. But this is kind of what I mean with that kickoff, right? You have a chance to possess and create, just kind of some offense controlled. Instead, Ankeny's able to counter because of a decision off that kickoff.
Kick down to the middle. A little bit off of the leg of an Ankeny defender. Here comes Bowenkamp. Can't get there in time. Now Ankeny with a run-up of their own. Lauren Knighty tried to get there defensively. Now on the near side, this is Paoli. Paoli turns, fires to the middle, and Knighty's there to recover. Now Paoli right back with it. And cleared out last second by Lainey Haviland.
It's a good job by Haviland to clear that out of there before any more damage can be done as we lose some papers on the way out.
Jeez. As you can see, John Schaefer going running after his papers, putting debris on the field. Yeah, that's not mine. I got mine underneath my papers.
Another one.
And we lose another one.
There we go. We're just all sorts of battening down the hatches right now.
Jeez.
Amateur hour over here.
Oh, my gosh.
It's been windy today, but
hey, guess
not
what?
that
The
windy.
wind picked up. Oh, my goodness.
It's almost like someone intentionally littered on the field. I mean, I don't know what we're doing over
ridiculous.
here. Who let this guy around a microphone?
And unfortunately, where we're sitting, it would have went across the whole field. And there would have been no stopping it.
Someone would have had some good game notes.
Yeah.
From 2A and 1A anyway.
Ball in the middle of play here, 36:55 to go here in this one. Waukee clears up down to the middle, and now back with Knighty and company. Here's Steinkamp. Nothing rolling there for her, and now they'll go back and forth over to this near side with Tori Bowenkamp. This one's going to come this way and roll out. Should be Ankeny ball here. And a throw in here by Sophia Kephart. Ooh, tough collision over there on the far line. A couple of the Ankeny players not happy. No call is brought up, so it'll be a goal kick here for Knighty. Knighty sends it on its way. Push up coming here for Josie Mulehop, who has been pretty quiet today. I haven't called her name a lot. Ankeny has really kept her in check.
I was about to give her a shout out though. Check out her nails next time she comes by. She's got them done up, and those.
You know, a lot of these players, they dyed their hair, they put these beads in their hair, and then I don't think they looked at the forecast and saw the type of rain that would be. It might be really hard to get some of those things out of your hair. Good couple headers there. Now Ankeny trying to go back the other way. And Stella Braddock's in there to knock it out.
Nearly a turnover there, though, at the top of the box. Almost led to Ankeny opportunity. They'll get a throw in on the far side of the field. But Ankeny's kind of hemming Waukee back in. We haven't seen a Waukee counter to it yet.
You keep knocking on the door. Somebody's going to open it eventually. Ankeny's just trying to do that here and keep pressure up on the goalkeeper, Lauren Knighty. Sydney Burrier over there on the far line. Tough collision there. Audrey Woods has hit the ground a couple times. Hops right back up.
Yeah, and as I said, at least our officials have been consistent with it.
Yep.
You know, not changing his whistle.
I mean, we've only had, 2 or 3 fouls the whole match.
Yeah.
We had a couple early. Picked up on the back by Knighty. You know, I had a couple people text me today, ask me what this experience is like, the new state tournament, obviously new venue. And I said, I think it feels more cozy in a way because you look at the bleachers out there, you look at the stands, and you think back to what we had at County. A lot of those were pretty far away. This is going to nail our tent. A lot of them were pretty far away. You know, you had the bleachers back there, you had all the stands. This is kind of, everything's compact, and everybody's just right here. You know, at County we had 4 different fields, and yes, it made the days a little bit shorter, but overall I think everything's more compact together. And
yeah, I think it's a great setup. I think the union does a great job of making it about, you know, the athletes out here and giving them a great experience. You know, now that we do get a whistle, and that is certainly a foul, But I think the one thing that you get out here is, one, an expedited timeline. I think, you had 20 minutes of warm-ups after every single game and down at County, and one way in, one way out for parking and things like that. And so I think this just kind of expedites the experience for everyone, and certainly it's been a pleasure. And then I'll be curious to see what the state championship games are like over at the main complex.
Well, and it makes you wonder, you have those practice fields, so there you get your warm-up done. At state volleyball, they have all those courts as well, where also you can warm up. So I wonder if maybe that could be a change we see coming soon, as that one's going to drop into the lap of Lauren Knighty, but maybe that becomes a change too. At state volleyball, we won't really see any warm-ups because they already have those courts for that field house, so you just never know. But I do like. I like the short time in between and just keep them rolling.
And to be honest, I like the move out of Des Moines for a little bit. I think obviously as a Des Moines native, I love the city, but I think it's good to mix it up. It's a little bit shorter drive for the northern side of the state.
Yeah.
And again, and I also like that you get days off in between. You're not going back to back to back to back to back. It's just one of those where I think it's rolled nicely.
And there are definitely parts of Iowa State University that have really stood out, and a lot of people seem to really enjoy. And as a Hawkeye fan, obviously the parking lot over there they call Jack Trice. I mean, that's fun.
Hey, no, it's last I checked, there's a trophy sitting on campus here, right? You got a couple of Iowa State
employees. We'll see you the second week of
one.
September, clones.
On Fox.
That one's kicked long and out, goal kick upcoming. And I think, you look at the progression of Cy-Town. If this stays here at this state soccer tournament, oh, my goodness, they'll have
and there are great options in town already. But, I mean, now with the state basketball being moved up here to Hilton as well, I think that's a great move. And, we'll see what happens.
I'm sure there have been a lot of really wet, dirty players showing up to Hickory Park today, enjoying food.
Talked about that with Andy Pollock. There's also a lot of other great options in town outside of Hickory Park that deserve some credit. But I also like, you roll out some food trucks over here.
Absolutely.
And
High Chai was back here. Get your Hy-Vee Chinese
How do you not get filled up on High Chai?
Absolutely.
Make sure none of my papers blow away with that next wind gust there.
It's just so inconsistent. Sometimes we'll get a big gust and sometimes it won't. Just over 30 minutes to go here in this one. Still 1-1 here between Waukee and Ankeny. That's not ours.
You read my mind.
There's a little wrapper right here in front of us. That's not ours if that goes out on the field. There's another one right in front of Knighty. Well, I tell you what, John, while we're talking here, Lauren's, she's had to step up. I mean, Ankeny's starting to really pick up the shots on goal. There's a handball. That's going to go Waukee's direction. Maybe John Waukee can get something rolling. It has been all Ankeny here in this second half in terms of offense.
Absolutely. And I think, Waukee's kind of gone into what I said maybe I'd expect teams to do in this spot where they sit things back a little bit.
Absolutely.
And lock down their back defensive line and really not take any risks. And I think that's what we're seeing. The problem is, how long can you hold off an Ankeny onslaught when they do have some firepower in there?
They switched it. So it was not a Waukee handball. It's a Waukee handball. Ankeny gets it, and thankfully for Waukee, they had everybody back there, and thankfully didn't have anybody out of position. But they switched that.
Then we're going to get a free kick now after some physicality just outside the box on the other side.
Yeah, the Waukee staff was pretty confused about that one as well.
Well, and I think what they're more frustrated with is there's no communication to reset the teams either. So Ankeny was able to play one fast without Waukee being truly set. And so I think that was a bit of a disadvantage.
They've rolled it along for the most part.
Getting some cheers behind us.
Yeah, sometimes
in the North,
on the camera
Northwest.
in our crowd mic, you'll hear cheers, but they're not from us. They're from the other side. Everybody being so close back to back. If you really wanted to, for anybody that wants to maybe come up and watch on Thursday, you could easily go to one of these ends and just sit and watch both games with ease.
Absolutely.
That's the nice part about it all. If you just want to watch soccer and you don't really have a dog in the fight, you can easily just come down here and sit on the ends, and you'll be able to see perfectly both matches. Warriors back line clears.
The other thing you can do is walk around campus a little bit after
Absolutely.
a game and maybe see a little bit of what's going on. I mentioned it earlier in one of our broadcasts, too. It's also orientation time, so you got
That's what those signs were.
Yep, all sorts of events. So follow the IGHSAU signage.
Yes, the pink signs.
Don't follow the orientation signage around campus.
There's pretty much 2 spots, 2 parking lots that you can fill in here at the state tournament. So, well, I tell you what, it is getting a little sunny behind us. You see the sun, or you can't see, but the sun is trying to peek out.
Thanks for that, yeah.
The sun is, in fact, trying to peek out here.
Are you sure those aren't just the Musco lights glaring into your eyes as I looked into one again?
Here comes Waukee on a chance, and Bartlett drops down on the ground. They had another one running over Josie Mulehop. Couldn't quite get there, and now it's sent back the other way.
It's well placed on the punt out. Keep possession and keep it moving back in Ankeny's direction as they work it over the top.
Bowen Camp was in there in the middle. Now over to Mira Horner. Going to send this one all the way to the other side as Burrier goes after it. Sydney will stop and work on it. Those two collide, and they are going to call a foul.
Whistle's tightening up again as we've started to get a little bit more chippiness into this game.
It's going to pick up. 26:40 to go here in this one. Winner advances on to the second round to take on either Waukee Northwest or Bettendorf, and there still is no score between those two.
You are correct. Bettendorf's keeping number 1 Northwest on their heels, that's for sure.
I think Northwest has only lost once, tied twice, I think. So there's Mulehop. In and out with the left leg, tries to center. Van Howling's right there. Waukee still there to recover, and that one just off the leg, a little weird to the right, off the leg of Horner.
It's one of those you really want to drive with the top of your boot instead of maybe trying to lift it, but no less a good. That's really the first scoring opportunity we've seen from Waukee in this half, and some new life from them as we get another substitute.
You know, the jerseys have been pretty clean, and then Cameron Dietz walked out there, number 8 for Ankeny, and she, as you can see, she is covered in mud on the right side of her jersey. So,
I wonder if IMT Insurance does any insurance for clothing.
I don't know. All I keep thinking about is those like Clorox ads where they like pull the shirt out and half the shirt has been cleaned and half the shirt isn't. You're just going to see that all the time.
These would be a great test for that.
Well, and you think about cleats, you can't have, is it metal cleats?
Yep,
you can't
that's
have
correct,
metal cleats in high school. So on a day like this, you'd love metal cleats.
Yeah, those will bite in a little bit more. Again, I think I've talked about it a couple times today too. I love the natural turf for days like today.
Yeah.
You see less injuries because the grass gives.
Yeah.
Whereas on that artificial, your cleat locks in as you slide and can lead to some painstaking opportunities. As
I believe Northwest just got a PK, from my understanding, based off the
they just
Bettendorf
scored on
crowd,
a PK, I
yeah, the
believe.
Bettendorf bench behind us I could hear. That is one advantage being over here I have noticed, as I'm surprised no handball, but we're so close to the benches. You can hear what the coaches are asking if they're bringing things up to officials.
Yeah, we had a funny interaction earlier in the second 2A game we had over here where coach was unhappy with a call, and the assistant official's walking over, and coach is yelling at him, and he goes, "I'm walking over. Why are you yelling at me?" It was a great little interaction.
Our officials here, I mean, they are voted through a system to get here to the state tournament, and they're also judged, and they're, truly judged on a scorecard of how they do here at the state tournament. So by the end of the state tournament in the championships, realistically, you have judged by the best officials here in the state tournament. And I know it's a big deal for any official that gets to be here at the state tournament, as that one's kicked out of bounds. Waukee will recover. And also tell you, number 29, Avery Taylor, that jersey's been through a lot. Quite dirty.
Think she's run through some mud?
Yeah, I think so. Either that or pretty high strides with the mud kicking up from the back of her legs. Well, Ankeny has had a couple opportunities here in this second half. They've kept the goalkeeper, Lauren Knighty, on our toes. Waukee really hasn't had many, at least maybe one shot on goal opportunity, but other than that, they've been pretty quiet.
Yeah, we're 17 minutes into the second half, and I think it's certainly been one of those games where they have locked things in, and both teams are content living, between around the 50 or around midfield, as we say.
Have it here in the middle with Gentry Williams, now over to the far side to Hannah Powers. There's Mulehop. Mulehop shot on the way, headed in the middle by Ankeny.
Really confident header there on the back line. Those can be a little dicey sometimes, especially if it skims off your back with an offensive attacker right there next to you.
Knighty will come up and boot that one. Horner kicks it ahead. Audrey Woods and company trying to get there, and Bartlett, nice slide to hop on top of it. That could have been bad.
It's great weather for the slides, though.
Yes.
Get a little extra carry on it.
When you think about it, Ankeny's goal, it was simply just Lauren Knighty just missed it. I mean, she had it, bounced off her hands, and then it was off the rebound. That's where Ankeny scored. So, the goalkeepers are so important, and they always say, if you can't stop it with your hands, if it bobbles, you drop. And that's exactly what you got to do, and we've seen that a couple times here.
Well, and Waukee's goal came from a ways out.
Yeah.
Neither.
And that's why I think Waukee, you wonder what their confidence is here, because it's like that goal, that was quite a ways out. It's not a freak goal. It's not a fluke goal, but
no,
definitely you haven't been able to get close. And also to mention, I don't think we've gotten a corner kick this half. So
not yet.
Not many opportunities. We've been stuck here in the middle for the most
part. Sorry,
Channel
Seed.
And again, these two teams tied the first part when they played earlier this season. You can't tie here, so it would only make sense that we're stuck here at 1-1.
Should be a handball, and it is.
That's not a bad spot for Waukee here. This will be really interesting what they can do here. 20:50 to go in the second half. Winner will take on Waukee Northwest or Bettendorf.
Well, if you loft it high, it's going to catch into that wind. We still have a breeze out there.
Is. And if you keep it low, well,
you're going to find a body.
Yeah, you're going to have to maybe find something else. Waukee Northwest scores again. They take a 2-0 lead.
2 big goals there to really take Bettendorf out of that game over there.
Gentry Williams, if she's playing basketball, it's a 3-pointer on the way here. It's a low liner, and Bartlett hops on top of it. Somehow nobody touched it before it got there.
I don't mind that shot, though. You just wait, see if maybe it takes a weird hop off somebody and you got a couple of attackers.
Now Ankeny tries to respond. Usually you have your best chance off a miss or another goal. Good back and forth here by Haviland. Now Haviland will go backwards to Gentry Williams and company, and Gentry with the long strides tries to get this one ahead. And it'll go and be kicked out here with 19.5 to go in the second half.
Under 20 to play now, and still neither team really playing with much urgency. They're kind of picking their spots to really go after it. So,
our producer Justin was just handed coffee, or probably hot chocolate, probably coffee, by Peter Tarpey, who's helping us out, obviously. And I was just thinking about that. That coffee truck took a big risk getting here today, because it could have been 90 degrees and they could have made no money, but instead they got lucky.
They probably hit the jackpot.
How much you want to
today.
bet they don't even push their luck and they're not even here Thursday? They'll say, all right, we've made our bed. They have made so much money today. I've seen so many of those cups around here.
That was a great call.
Genius. They saw the forecast and said, we can make money today.
Let's cash it in.
And it is getting colder.
It's cooled off, definitely. I'd say there's still a light breeze, but on the bright side, it's not raining.
Correct.
I think you said it right. Our 2A teams Really had to deal with the worst. It was consistent the entire 2A matchups.
Well, there's no one here on this near side here. Waukee trying to push. Now Ankeny recovers back with Haviland to them. Up ahead to Putz. Now to the far line. Here is Mulehop. She's kind of trapped in a corner, though. She turns. It hits off an Ankeny player's shoulder or head.
I think it got a face, and that's going to bring us to a stoppage because they want to check on her anytime that happens and it drops a player. That's going to be an instant check on them.
She seems like she's all right. I can't quite tell.
They'll force a substitution just to get her checked out.
It's number 18, Sophia Leffler. And in goes Ava Paoli for her.
Senior defender. She said, I'm fine. I just
concussion protocol. Gotta.
I mean, I'd err on the side of caution, certainly. That was quite the strike she ate.
She took it like a champ, I can tell you that.
Yeah, and they'll check on her, just double check that her nothing's dilating and she doesn't have any ringing.
How many fingers am I holding up?
Though it's hard to imagine there isn't a little ringing in the head after that one.
Yeah.
They give, but they don't give enough to not hurt every time.
Mulehop can't get the hop as it drops into Bartlett's lap. 17.5 to go. I tell you what, both these teams very even right now. It feels like nobody's really gotten a big advantage, especially in the last 10 minutes. So this one hops out in front of us. Waukee pulled out the All Blacks today, which is a school color. It is in their logo.
You're taking a shot at the campus
Wallin
we're
Ames.
on. I thought you might be there, but that's
Ankeny
gutsy.
Ankeny in the white and the maroons. It's kind of like Ankeny's all gold football uniforms. Which, yeah, it's his team color. It's quite the look.
It's a decision. One you've got to be confident in.
Ankeny player hits the ground, thought they had a foul. To no avail. That was Cameron Dietz who hit the ground. Two Ankeny players collide, and boy, that was a really tough hit for Kirsten Peterson. She is still down. I think she got the wind knocked out of her.
Yeah, she's gasping a bit.
And it was a player-on-player contact.
Another stoppage and a chance for everyone to catch their breath. Also be a chance here shortly for, I think it's going to be Sophie Loeffler coming right back in here in a moment as she rehydrates and preps.
Get a couple IMT insurance substitutions, getting ready to check in here in just a moment. This, I mean, especially one of the days you see girls get here in this line, they're doing jumping jacks. They're trying to stay warm because, I mean, under the tent, it's cold. I mean,
it's one of those, you have them sprint down around the flag a few times to get the legs warm again, and there's that wind. It's locked down everything.
Comes back every once in a while.
Don't need to be that guy again.
Bartlett comes up and makes the grab.
Definitely feels like both these teams are okay playing for extra time or even PKs right now.
It's not my fault you said it at the very beginning that everybody at home would enjoy overtime. Everyone here would prefer this thing gets done in regulation.
It's called a broadcaster's jinx.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Big proponent of it. I'm the guy that brings up the shutout when a goalie's got one going.
See, I don't disagree with that. I have always been the guy that I don't actually believe in a broadcaster jinx ever, but no, I will. If some dude has a shutout going in baseball, I will be the one to bring it up.
What about perfect game? Do you say it?
Well, I don't know. That's a little different.
So where do you draw your line?
Well, in America's pastime, perfect games have only happened, 30, 20 sometimes?
Yeah, it's a rarity.
I don't know. Sometimes it's a little different. Mass substitutions here for Waukee. But when it comes to a tie, and you're like, oh, I hope we don't go to overtime, it's like, well, in that case.
So that's a real, that can be okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That doesn't matter.
Your superstition or semi-stition
is
a little
jaded.
Yeah, it's a little baffling right now.
Maybe I should
wouldn't
just
say
pick
I'm
a side.
superstitious. I'm just a little stitious.
Maybe I should just pick a side someday.
Okay, Michael Scott.
Under 15 to go here in the second half.
Great ball over the top there.
Ankeny might have a chance here. Steinkamp stopped it, but Braddock is right there to try to send it back the other way.
That was a great read by Braddock to know there's only a little bit of room there to work for Steinkamp, and didn't really have anywhere else to go with it but drop it off.
Here's a turn by Ankeny. Sky high, popped up in the air. That was really nice by Lauren Knighty. Just a fist punch.
Been really impressed with Knighty's work in net. How she's so confident in every move she makes. Oh, that one nearly twisted her up a little bit.
Knighty was able to jump down in front of it, right in front of the goal. Luckily stayed in bounds as well.
Sometimes the angle almost makes it look like it's sneaking in there a little bit closer.
It really does. Has anybody got anything left in the tank here in the final couple minutes? There's another. That was a really nice shot there by Mackey, but just not there as Knighty bats it down with her hands.
Right to the middle of the frame. I don't mind the shot. You want to try and maybe pick a corner here. It's okay to miss the net at this point. I'd rather have you picking a corner. Granted, that was on the first touch, so can't ask too much, but really good job overall by both teams as you start seeing the middle of the field in particular really starting to rip up.
Yeah, I'm starting to see the Browning here in the middle. And you wonder, when do both teams kind of start trying a couple longer shots? Obviously, that's what Waukee scored on, but neither team has really gotten close shot chances, and they're just going to say, well, we might as well just keep trying from way out.
I think if anyone does it, it's going to be Ankeny just because of that wind being at their back, and they have something to play with there. But again, Knighty's been so good on that back line, the goal line for Waukee tonight.
Well, Knighty, you got two different goalies. You got Knighty, who has a very long reach, and Bartlett not as much, but she's quite fast when she can get down on the ground and have a chance at a save. So that's another thing to think about. And, it's different, but how many, hopefully it gets done in regulation, but these teams don't play PKs all year. You show up in PKs, you're
outside
like, oh, gosh, how do you play? Yeah,
it's like,
oh, gosh, we haven't played PKs all year, Especially for the goalies. Obviously, every time in warm-ups, that's what they practice is PK-type positions. But
yeah, and for goalies, it's halfway a guessing game and halfway a read. And
Ankeny, in some people's thoughts, was the reason that we have no overtime anymore in the regular season after them and Dallas Center Grimes went to 15 PKs last year. And it was after that game that many people thought, maybe we should change this up.
Maybe it just doesn't need to happen.
Our friend Andy Pollock was on that game, and I texted him about 7 in, and I'm like, are you done yet? And he said, no, not yet. As that one's knocked out, that should be Ankeny ball.
Find its way out. Yes, it will.
This is the point in the game where the crowds get a little bit louder.
Or the benches behind us.
Yep, benches. And I can never tell if I'm hearing Bettendorf's bench or if I'm hearing.
I think you're catching a lot of Bettendorf and Waukee bench right now. Waukee wants some pressure here on the ball.
Next game slated to start at 7:15, I believe. It's either 7 or 7:15.
That one likely is going to be a little bit behind. It's 6:48, so we're right about on time for that, actually.
That is Ankeny Centennial and Johnston, another CIML battle. Here's another shot attempt that's not going to go. Caught up in the air.
Paoli there with it.
Out. Ankeny ball. There you go. You can get the crowd a little bit. See him a little bit over there.
In case you're wondering, though, it is still cold.
It is still cold. I got a jacket in my car, and I don't know if I'm going to have enough time to maybe go back and grab it, but I sure am thinking about it.
It might be worth it. Or take that towel and bundle up.
Yeah. I thought about that, wrapping it around my legs. I remember I did that a couple of years ago when it was so sunny. I'm like, I ain't getting burned.
I'll take a sunburn over this right now.
That's what. I was at that Cooper DeJean thing on Sunday, and luckily didn't get burned. I was sunscreened up, and I thought, well, I'll need it this week. And obviously today, not much, but
Thursday we'll be back at it.
And Thursday looks good if anyone plans to come out. I mean, I think 80s, maybe low 80s.
Oh,
for the
sounds
most part.
wonderful
So,
right now.
Absolutely.
Like nothing better than a sauna at this point.
These
like
players, especially that got wins today in these type of conditions, you're just like, this is exactly what we want.
Yep, give me my payoff.
How about this speed here by Kirsten Peterson trying to work her way on the far line. Slides in, they collide. Peterson just fires and misses just to the right. It does stay in, though, so Ankeny will try to reset.
Certainly looked like it could have been a foul, but ref says play on, and as we do.
We'll go to the far line over there with Isabel Squires. And now here's Mulehop with it. Ouch. Should be Waukee. Nope. Going to go to Ankeny. How could I? I looked at the Waukee crowd, and I wasn't looking at the Ankeny crowd. I saw what the Waukee crowd said, and obviously going to have differing opinions.
What, two fan bases can't agree on
who
that went out on?
You just never know.
I know.
I give credit. A lot of people have stood this whole game.
Helps you keep you warm, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you are watching at home and you do plan to come here on Thursday, I recommend bringing a folding chair. I think, honestly, that's probably the best way to go. Here's an opportunity here for Waukee. Carson Gerleman.
There's that mistake, either team's looking for the back line to make.
Boy, it was just one bad pass. Now they center in the middle. Ankeny gets in there just before a chance at a shot. Now Waukee's going backwards. Boy, I feel like Waukee could have been a little bit more aggressive here. Now here's a lineup. And a header by the Ankeny defense. Now they go to their star player. Here's Mulehop. She fires, bounces into Bartlett's lap. I feel like Waukee could have been a little bit more aggressive there.
Yeah, Tanky did a good job coming back and stepping in to take away a shot opportunity, and then I think Waukee felt a reset was right. And I'm kind of with you, but then again, pushing it forward there might not have led to anything, or maybe leads to a counter opportunity.
And the freshman Carson Gerleman, it dropped right in her lap. She didn't even think it would because it was such a weird bounce.
Right.
And she just wasn't ready for it, as it'll be Ankeny ball. 7:44 to go here in the second half, tied at 1. In this Class 3A quarterfinal, winner moves on to play Waukee Northwest or Bettendorf. Northwest currently leads the way.
2-0 still over there.
Here comes Waukee with a chance, but great on-ball defense by Ankeny. Good one-on-one win for Isabel Squires. Two players hit the ground. Oh, wow.
I think they felt Tanky had a late challenge there and a little bit dangerous, so they'll just whistle that one dead and reset once again under 7 minutes. Feels like this half has taken an eternity in some ways.
A little bit. I've always learned that if you think the halves are going long, just don't look at the clock.
Welcome to soccer.
If you don't look at the clock, it moves by pretty quickly.
Can't help it.
Well, in
right
scores do slow down the game. I mean, that's just a given. And obviously, this is kind of like football, where if you're just in between the hashes all game, the clock's just going to keep moving. Waukee with another chance right there in the middle. Gentry Williams with it for a second. Now over to Bowenkamp. Gerleman. Van Howling's right there. Ankeny looked a little confused on defense, but they're going to get away with it. Now over to the other side. Abby Steinkamp. A lot of contact, and a foul is called on Steinkamp.
A little bit of an arm bar there. No big deal.
Laney Haviland was the one drawing pressure.
Just a battle for the ball. Both were looking for some contact there.
Waukee coaches marking out instructions here. We get down to it. 5:45 to go. In the last couple of minutes, can anyone get it done in regulation? Here's Ankeny working the near side. Trying to turn it and kicked out. And I believe for the first time this half, we will have a Channel Seeds corner kick for Ankeny, and it comes in a big spot here.
Yes, it does, and it's going to be Sophia Kephart.
Nope, I lied.
No, that was a corner. It was a quick corner.
It was a quick corner, and they didn't even go to the goal. Yeah,
nope.
Here's a shot on goal that bounces in front of Nighty.
Again, there have been some puzzling moments of this half. And I'm not one to coach.
No, I'm not either, but I
think it was
5
interesting.
minutes left.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that you go short there for a possession. But, again, maybe you're trying to avoid a counter. You feel like Waukee's gotten you back on your heels a little bit as we see a big
out.
run.
It's Mule Hop. Mule Hop got around 1. Mule Hop got around 2. She blocks everybody off, and she's going to get a corner kick.
Another one.
Channel Seeds, welcome back. Second corner kick in the last minute after not having any here in the first half.
And we get some subs, too.
And they get a couple big subs back in. Audrey Woods, Sydney Burrier back into the match. And it looks like it's going to be the girl who scored the first one, Tori Bowenkamp, the sophomore, to kick it with 4:21 to go. Could make or break the game right here. Bowenkamp a long way back. She's going to put her leg into it. On the way. Header. Drops in front. Now to the middle. Up in the air. Ankeny clears at least for the moment. They can't get the bicycle kick. It's kicked back out. But Waukee still has a decent shot here. Sent back up the field by Powers. Ankeny with it on the ground. They can't clear it yet. Now Van Howling sends it this way. Haviland will come and get it. Still time for Waukee, 3:35. Haviland, I don't think it had the turn on it that she wanted. Boy, one lucky bounce. Waukee could be in position here.
Ankeny has a chance to counter, too, really quick here if they can get some meat on it, as you see that bounce there.
Now they go all the way back to the goalie. Knighty got it off! Here comes a chance for Ankeny with Abby Steinkamp. Now they go backwards. Shot on goal into the lap of Lauren Knighty. Boy, they got so lucky.
Steinkamp with some pressure on that. Maybe gets away with a bit of a handball. Her hands come up to protect her face a bit, I thought. But
she said, if I can't get it in the goal, I might as well kick it as hard as I can at the goalkeeper, because good chance she's not going to be able to grab it on first kick.
Right.
And that's how Ankeny scored their one goal today. Well, they're getting aggressive here. Woods and them. There goes a push from behind. No call. That goes all the way to the end. Van Howling's going to clear it, and Waukee's going to have another chance here with 2.5 to go.
Just feels like there's a little bit more urgency now in the game for Waukee, and Ankeny's maybe back a bit on their heels, but they're looking for that counter again as we get the throw in.
Pop back, 2:19 to go. Another throw in here for the Warriors. It's going to have to come in the last 2 minutes if you're Waukee, or else we're going to extras. Stella Braddock will be the one to throw in here for the Warriors. Header up in the air. Not a bad chance.
That was a bad challenge, though.
Ooh,
by
foul is called.
Yep, that was a late and bad challenge of pushing the back there, and that's one you just can't take in that spot.
I tell you what, John, we can't see it from here, but they can't be that far out of that box.
They're not.
That was almost disastrous.
I can tell you they're about 4 yards beyond that box on the far side. You're going to get a 3-person wall, 2-person wall there on the near post, and then you're going to try and clog up the middle.
Who's kicking this for Waukee, but 1:28 to go. This is really going to be most likely the last couple chances here for offensive sets and regulation. Players know the situation. Free kick. It's short. That one bounces off one. Now back the other way. They're going to get a throw in. Saw a couple players hit the turf. Might have been trying to flop for a foul. Get the easy way. We're under a minute.
It's been an interesting game to say the least. That was Mira Horner with that free kick there, and I like what she does, keeping it low and keeping it in play. You know, she doesn't sail one over the bar or anything like that. She gives her team a chance.
They just keep backing up. Stella Braddock now will get ready to throw this in once again. Out, still Waukee ball, 30 seconds left here in regulation. Well, Waukee really not a lot of urgency here with 22 seconds left.
Again, I think content going to extra time. They feel like they've created some momentum.
Out, and now it's Ankeny ball. Ankeny's going to hurry. They think they got some time here. 13 seconds left on the clock. They're going to have to go quick. Mule Hop goes down, Ankeny going to run it with 7 seconds left, just trying to push up through the defense. That's Isabel Squires. And now kicked out of the way, and that will do it for regulation. Well, Waukee came in today having tied 6 times. If we kept those rules, it'd be 7 times. They tied the first time they met earlier this season, and now we go to extras. 10 more minutes will go on the clock. We'll be back. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Soccer Tournament.
Here in Greater Des Moines, we're the unexpected sports mecca that feels like home. We are the big ballers, the little kickers, the underdogs, and the bulldogs. We've got events wacky and wild, big and small, we host them all. And that old sports cliche, nobody believes in us? Nah, when you come here, you'll believe. Because in Des Moines, only the S's are silent. Let's go!
Something exciting is growing on Iowa farms these days. Innovation. From tractors that seed, weed, and harvest with data-driven precision to drones that scout or plant cover crops to protect soil and water. Even our animals live in smart homes with round-the-clock care. Technology keeps your food safer, water cleaner, and makes us more sustainable. Because what we do here benefits everyone here. Life on the farm makes everyone's life better.
Fuel choice that's cheaper, homegrown, and better for the planet? Now that's worth the hype. Pump it up with unleaded 88.
It's Frank. Frank. Mr. Frank. And just what you did now, I think you're the best ever.
In your neighborhood, there's a place so good. It's so nice to be at a store meant for me. The feeling of family, you have to agree.
Wow, thanks, Fairway Frank.
Welcome to Fairway, your Fairway family.
Freedom Tire is proud to support the Iowa Girl through their sponsorship of the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union. With 6 locations around the metro, you're never far from getting you back or keeping you on the road. Our certified staff and state-of-the-art technology means you can take comfort knowing you've got the best work at the best prices. Give us a try at Freedom Tire, a proud supporter of the IGHSAU.
Welcome back to the Iowa Girls State Soccer Tournament. We are going to overtime. Something I have not said all year. It is 1-1. 10 minutes, for those that forgot our ancient times, our ancient ways here in high school soccer.
It was a year ago.
Back in the day, back in my day,
what
we
are we
did used to
talking
go
about?
back in
1
my
year
day,
ago.
we went to overtime all the time, and now we have our first overtime of the state tournament. I blame John. He did bring it up.
You know,
earlier.
it was bound to happen.
It was. And in 3A, I mean, I think if you look back at majority of overtimes at the
they're
state
probably
tournament,
the
they're
biggest
in 3A.
class. Yep.
I mean, and that's just a given. And I bet if you look at the majority of ties this year, it's in the 2 biggest classes.
Oh,
in,
yeah.
3A. And
Well,
2A,
Waukee probably has more ties than like all of 1A or 2A.
I do, yeah. I mean, and Bondurant. Did Bondurant have a lot of ties?
I think
I'm
so,
pretty
yeah.
sure. So it's just kind of one of those things. But, you know, I don't think a team ever leaned on a tie as a positive, but now you got to keep fighting and you got to get through it. So we'll set them up again, and it will be 10 minutes on the clock. If they can't score in the 10 minutes, then we put another 10 minutes on the clock. And if they can't score in those 10 minutes, then we go to PKs, and then I turn to Justin and say, hey, how do we keep track of this? And all in all, not bad. But
get the coin flip right now in front of us. Thrilling stuff, I got to say.
I know. It's going to land right in the grass there.
Get a little muddy probably. A couple of the
Shannon and Jake got the best view over there for the TV news people.
Although they look cold.
Yeah.
At least they're wearing pants.
Jake's got no coverage over his camera. Shannon says, I'm not going to hurt the KCCI camera, and she'll.
You know, I've been in Jake's shoes before.
Sometimes
literally,
like,
literally, I'm just kind of like, let's think about it.
We'll see what happens.
But I want a new camera
We're
soon.
insured.
Let's, Technic can fork over that. Actually.
What's the worst that can happen?
And we digress. Let's get off that topic. You know, if we did that to Justin and Peter, what do you think they'd do if we walked down the middle of the field with one of these bad boys over to our left?
I'd be like, hey, at least we're getting a good shot for about 5 minutes before the technology goes.
Technology, not our.
I'm
I'm looking at this plug in front of me, and it's covered in water right now.
I can't believe that's.
I don't believe it's an outdoor
fire marshal's not
adapter.
Here, thank goodness.
Where's the insurance guy?
I tell you what, our main official, he's got dirt on the back of his back from.
He's been working hard.
Yeah, he has, kicking up dirt and whatnot.
As of our lines people today.
It's so funny. Some of these officials I saw in the first game, they just go back and forth. They switch out the color of their shirts and
green
boom,
for this
right
group. We had pink or magenta.
I think they saved pink for the championships. I think
true pink, yes.
Yep.
But I believe we had a magenta in the last game, and I think we're about to go final over here behind us too, with Waukee Northwest up 3-0.
Well, we're off and running here in the second half. As if you don't know, it is sudden death. That's how this works out.
Almost had a collision here. I was a little worried for our camera people, as looked like Kirsten Peterson was coming in red hot.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think you were right. We're not going to see the sun today, mostly because by the time looks like most of our rain has moved out. But
on the bright side, we don't have to deal with that smoke anymore.
Absolutely.
You know, there's always a bright side when you live in Iowa. When it's negative 20, hey, there's no bugs out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, Thursday when we're roasting and it's 81, hey, it's not snowing.
Do you see an advantage here, John, especially in the last couple of minutes? In my opinion, it felt like Waukee had
what a go by
the better of the offensive possessions there in the end.
Yeah.
So I feel momentum is with Waukee, but I'm not really sure.
I think the stoppage kind of resets everybody a little bit. I think Ankeny played back on their heels, kind of like Waukee did the first 20. I'd say Ankeny kind of dropped into that the last 20. And
Absolutely.
I think both these teams, unless there's a glaring mistake,
it feels like that might be what happens.
It's going to take a glaring mistake. Otherwise, they'll both be content with saying, let's see what our keeper can do for us in PKs.
And they're going to get tired. I mean, they've been out here a while.
Cold.
Absolutely.
Although they're not as wet, like rain covered.
No. Still going to be dealing with mud.
But they look cold.
Yeah, all night. But
you know, then you hope no one gets a cold.
Yeah.
Gets sick.
I've been told you can't catch a cold from the cold.
Well, that's true.
That's an old tale.
That's true, but let's not give us any reason to wear down our.
Absolutely not.
Just kidding. Anyway, no, it's been a fun day here. I think I think the big thing to take away is all these teams had to battle the same elements.
Yeah.
They played through it. They battled with a lot of pride and a lot of ferocity, and we've got a great game here still going.
Get booed out by Lauren Knighty. Now Ankeny trying to get right back to the center, cleared out once again.
This is one of those where you don't take any risks. You just, worst case, you just clear it as high and far as you can. You'd rather not make a mistake. That's a great play there defensively. And who knows, maybe you draw a foul in a position like that. But a throw-in isn't going to break this game.
Absolutely. And, you know, especially down in the box.
Yeah.
Don't get handsy if you don't have to, because the last thing you want is for the game to end on a PK that's not the PKs that are given at the end of overtimes. Both players over there colliding, trying to get free here. Waukee just looking for room here. Everybody's kind of congested over there. They got a lot of grass over here. That's where they try to go, but Ankeny's right there.
Nice cut back.
Gentry Williams kicks this one upfield. Now here comes Mule Hop coming over to get it. And can't quite get her footing.
Tried to play the cut back there. I don't mind it. Just, again, a little slick out there.
Lauren Knighty jumps on top of that one. Knighty will boot this thing back the other way. Now up ahead to Woods, and Ankeny trying to recover with a couple players in there in the middle. Cameron Dietz and them. Going to roll out, and who are they going to give it to? They're going to give it to Ankeny.
Right now, a lot of playing to the feet. You're not, again, not trying to take too many risks and create counter opportunities or allow a counter opportunity. And so possession's everything right now in this extra frame.
Ball rolls out over there. Ankeny gets a throw in.
Might have heard the 1 minute call.
Yeah,
minute
like
left on the other field.
On the other one.
Yep. Northwest, less than a minute away.
And again, they've had no overtimes, and that's kind of gone long over there today.
Well, and this field got ahead.
Yeah.
With that 10-0 final.
We can't have nice things, so we go to overtime.
Having a rough day, Blake? You need to talk about some things or what?
What do we get? Goal? What do we have?
I think we had an offsides over there. We have a flag up on the
Wasn't a lot of room for that, but it worked
somehow
out.
Managed.
A lot of the other fans for Johnston and Centennial starting to make their way here on the end.
If I'm anybody, I'm sitting down on the north end with my back to the wind.
I don't know if they can get over there. I think most of the time, well, yeah.
It's a little bit more of a jump, but you won't have the wind in your face.
Absolutely.
There's your final behind us. Northwest tops Bettendorf.
You know, most of the games today, obviously this one's different, but a lot of the games have been really close for a half, and then things kind of pick up in that second half, and I think teams make those adjustments. And
that tends to be quarterfinal action, I'd say, more often than not, right? And then as you get into the semis, everyone tightens up a bit, though I think you'll see some open soccer across all three classes in semifinal action.
And unfortunately, I think almost every year we've had at least one game that's a 10-0 game, and this year it just so happened to be Xavier and Bondurant. I don't think a lot of people thought it was going to be those two, but Xavier looked really good down there in 2A.
Yeah, it was just one of those where I think experience outmatched anything Bondurant Farrar could have thrown at anybody in that game. Xavier, senior loaded. Bondurant Farrar, I think all but 4 players on that starting lineup were seniors. So
they'll be back.
Well,
here's a chance for Waukee here. Here's Mule Hop trying to get ahead of it.
That's going to be, should be a foul there.
Yep, it is. Who was that, 23? Yeah, it was a foul. It's a foul up against number 29.
Kyla Schapfeld.
Yep.
Or I'm sorry, no. Avery Taylor goes down.
Just going after the ball.
Did they say
so it wasn't a foul. It was just out of bounds.
Play.
Yeah.
Certainly looked a bit malicious, but I'm not a ref.
Knighty comes up and makes the play. 3 minutes to go here in overtime number 1.
Big boot from Knighty.
She's had a couple of those today. Just hasn't really led in Waukee's favor.
Keep in mind when they switch directions at half of extra time, Waukee's going to go back with the wind at their back where they scored the long goal. So that could be something as we see Ankeny trying to capitalize on it too.
I will say if I'm Centennial or Johnston, I'm really looking at this middle of the field. I mean, it is really starting to – we saw it just a minute ago.
Yeah.
A lot of the girls slipping and sliding there.
Yeah, you got to play it out wide.
Yeah.
You got to kind of adjust your game plan a bit to maybe take some runs on the outside. I mean, but this game has lived so much up the middle of the field for all 5 games so far on this pitch.
And we just kind of sit in the middle. Someone looking for a breakaway.
That was a big collision. We've got another injury.
Oh, no.
She grabbed her knee, and
I
think that's probably going to want to be a break here.
Yeah. I couldn't quite tell who it was, but she's already got a knee brace on her left leg anyway, and yeah, it was a really tough collision there with that knee. Let's see.
They're going to let the doctor come out and take a look as well.
Well, yeah, the official came up for a second. Waukee has their own huddle over there on the right side. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Soccer Tournament.
At MidAmerican Energy, we're one company serving 1.6 million people who all need energy that's available 24/7. That's why we work 24/7. That's why we make investments in our systems that make us more resilient to extreme weather. That's why we generate power from all available resources to cover the variables in supply and demand. And that's why when the power is knocked out, We work around the clock to restore power to you. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Here in Greater Des Moines, we're the unexpected sports mecca that feels like home. We are the big ballers, the little kickers, the underdogs, and the bulldogs. We've got events wacky and wild, big and small, we host them all. That old sports cliche, nobody believes in us? Nah, you come here, you'll believe. Because in Des Moines, only the S's are silent. Let's go!
Something exciting is growing on Iowa farms these days. Innovation. From tractors that seed, weed, and harvest with data-driven precision to drones that scout or plant cover crops to protect soil and water. Even our animals live in smart homes with round-the-clock care. Technology keeps your food safer, water cleaner, and makes us more sustainable. Because what we do here benefits everyone here. Life on the farm makes everyone's life better.
1:57 to go. The injured Sophia Leffler was helped off the field. She was putting a little bit of pressure on that leg, but obviously they'll keep checking on her, and unfortunately was that leg where she already has that brace. So under 2 minutes to go here in overtime number 1. Ankeny and Waukee continuing to battle here.
Winner of this gets Northwest on Thursday.
Another team that they are familiar with, being the CIML. Everybody's hitting the ground, and oh boy, there goes a foul.
Some disgruntled reaction from the Waukee bench, and this is a dangerous spot.
But is Ankeny going to hurry here?
I don't think they need to. You got a minute 20.
I saw.
Why rush?
Cameron Dietz was like, hey.
Yeah, let's not play fast here.
Come on, we got a chance here.
We've got a mark inside.
I mean, Mackey's going to be the one to take it.
You go. She should.
Yeah.
She's going to fire one on net.
They got time. They got a minute, so it's Dietz and Mackey. Whoever
I'd
wants
let
to
this
take
run
it.
down as much as possible. Have a go.
Mackey on the way and dropped him down on Lauren Knighty. Nicely done.
I think Mackey wanted a little more air under it. I like the idea, though. The Waukee coaches telling their team to slow down, 45 seconds, no rush. I think they want to get the wind at their back here in this next 10 and see what they can do.
$30 seconds left here in overtime number 1. If no one scores here in the next 30, we go to OT2. It'll be another 10 minutes on the clock. Stella Braddock goes backwards to 90. This one's skied up in the air.
We'll roll out of bounds, and the Waukee bench implores their team, do not rush. Nice and easy, and then we'll reset for the final 10.
Under 10 seconds to go here, and it looks like everyone's just going to mind their P's and Q's. And
well, don't say that quite yet.
One overtime.
Penalty there
was not enough.
Clock hits 0.
So we'll go to our second overtime, take a little bit of a 5-minute break, and we'll be back for overtime number 2. 1-1, Ankeny Waukee. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Soccer Tournament.
Hello, I'm Brent Johnson, president of the Iowa Farm Bureau.
And I'm Erin Gerlich, executive director of the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union. We'd like to thank you for joining us for the Girls State Soccer Tournament.
The Iowa Farm Bureau knows that strong, vibrant schools are the cornerstone of our communities. That's why we're proud to be the title sponsor of the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union and this amazing state tournament. This tournament not only showcases Iowa's elite teams, but the athletes competing here today are among our nation's best and brightest. And Iowa's farmers are among the nation's most productive. Our partnership with the Girls Union gives us the opportunity to recognize both, all while supporting and lifting up the Iowa girl.
With the help of the Iowa Farm Bureau, we celebrate students' efforts not only on the field, but in the classroom as well. The Iowa Farm Bureau is committed to your success and supports our organization and the Iowa girl. Through millions of dollars they provide in awards, grants, and scholarships that recognize athletic and academic excellence.
As Iowans, we have a lot to be proud of. Whether you're a student competing here today or a fan tuning in, we all play an important role in making our state great. So, from the Iowa Farm Bureau
and the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union,
congratulations to your school on a terrific season, and good luck in the tournament games.
At MidAmerican Energy, we're one company serving 1.6 million people who all need energy that's available 24/7. That's why we work 24/7. That's why we make investments in our systems that make us more resilient to extreme weather. That's why we generate power from all available resources to cover the variables in supply and demand. And that's why when the power is knocked out, we work around the clock to restore power to you. MidAmerican Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Excelling in athletics takes teamwork, dedication, and a commitment to excellence. These are the same qualities that help our pig farmers and our communities thrive. The Iowa Pork Producers Association is proud to support statewide high school athletics and the student athletes who make us all proud. Visit iowapork.org/wecare to meet the people behind the pork and hear about our winning approach to caring for our pigs, the environment, and our communities.
Welcome back out to Lead Recreation Complex. Out here getting ready for another big showdown in the final 10 minutes. Ankeny and Waukee. It's not another one. It's the one you've been glued to for the last 90 minutes of soccer. And Ankeny coming right out with some pace. John Schaefer, Blake Walker. Ankeny now trying to return the favor. Much of what we saw in that first half as Avery Taylor works it down the sideline. That ball will be sent out of bounds and throw in for Ankeny. They're looking to play fast. Or will it be a corner? I can't tell from my angle. It looks like it's a corner. Jumps right onto the hands of the netminder. That was Knighty. Knighty throws it out, but turned right back over. Nearly turned right over. Instead, Josie Mulehop ran through the ball and a player on her way there. Here comes Waukee now, creates a turnover, looking to counter. Ball back into the offensive half for Ankeny. Hot pursuit with some speed down there. Like Isabel Squires. So it'll be an Ankeny throw-in from the far side. 8.5 to play. Again, if this does not wrap with a golden goal, we head to PKs. That'll be out of bounds on Ankeny, and Waukee will get the throw-in. See if Waukee really wants to press things here. I mean, both teams kind of played that last 10 minutes as though they were ready for, or they were okay stretching it to another extra time, and then PKs even possible after that. Granted, I don't know how I feel about PKs, honestly, wanting it to get there. I'd rather settle it with a nice goal, get some pressure up as here comes Waukee. That looked like a push, and it was a push. Certainly the right call in that situation as Ankeny creates a turnover there. It'll be another Ankeny free kick. That was just a little bit too strong of a shove on the far side by Audrey Woods, the senior. She's got 4 goals this season. Scoring's been spread around just a little bit. Josie Mulehop, has 7, leading the way. Again, the lone goal of this game came off the foot of Tori Bonenkamp for Waukee, and then the lone goal on the other side, I believe, was Allie Mackey. Here comes Mulehop, up through, looking for a little bit of space, doesn't find it. Turned over, deflected out of bounds, and that'll go back to the Ankeny Hawks. Under 7 to play. Keep giving you updates. I know you got a clock in your top corner. I just want to draw your attention there every once in a while. Weaving her way through is Lila Putz. And turnover opportunity. Bottled up at the top of the box, cleared away. But Waukee with it in striking distance. Here's Pitts. Pitts has to go with the left. Just wide of frame, but that's a great look from Lila Pitts, the freshman. playing confident all game long and nearly had the game winner. But instead it'll be a goal kick for Ankeny. Hawks will boot it away, trying to get this going back on the offensive half. But as we've seen much of today on this field, the wind really does dictate who's going to get majority of scoring opportunities. Ankeny had chances last 10. Waukee with chances this 10, thanks to that wind, and that'll be a foul on Ankeny. And rightly so. Can't play through a body to get there. I know there's some disagreement from the far side, but that is a foul. It's the right call. That's headed back up into the box. Waukee trying to track it down. Nearly cleared away, but stays on the feet of Waukee in black. Woods sent it in with the left. It was deflected. That'll be a corner. Here's your Channel Seeds corner. They've been hit or miss at times today. We'll see if Waukee can get the game winner here as 5 minutes now left. We're halfway through this final extra time. Here comes the delivery. It's bending in, and headed just over the top. That was headed away, and it'll be another corner kick. It's Mira Horner out there delivering. She'll step back to the corner for another. Next goal wins it. Horner delivering. Trying to wrap it around and nearly wraps it near post. Instead, it's off the outside of the frame, and Ankeny will reset with the goal kick. Take a little bit of time here as Waukee's now been threatening for the last handful of minutes. Here come the Hawks with some speed on the outside. Can Ankeny capitalize? No, it's cleared away. Great step in by Gentry Williams. It was Kirsten Peterson, the freshman, on the run on the far side, and Williams just comes across at the last moment to clear it away for a throw-in for Ankeny. Everyone on the edge of their seat waiting to see how this final overtime frame plays out. We've played one 10-minute overtime. We're into our second 10. After this, we go to penalties. Some argue the most exciting setup in soccer. Others argue it's not a true determiner of victor. I'd agree that it's certainly exciting, but I'd love to see it won with a true goal. That ball takes a deflection on the way in, settled back down, and then cleared away. Ankeny sends it back into the box. Quick header there by Isabel Squires. Couple of Ankeny players get taken out by each other. Now here comes the run from Carson Gerlman. Gerlman with some space. Gets taken away by Mackey. Mackey strong on that ball. That finds its way to Dietz. Dietz tries to clear it away. There's a tackle from behind. No whistle. Ref says play on. Dietz has it at her feet. Should play it ahead. Doesn't find anyone. Lainey Haviland now coming back the other way. Goes right back to Gerlman. Played back to the middle of the field. You can see that turf has taken a beating in this game with all the play at midfield. That ball played up and through again. Mackey running on fumes right now. Doesn't want to force too much and find herself out of position. We get a throw in as it deflects off a foot. Fast play in by Ankeny. Cleared back to the boundary once again. Nicely by Lainey Haviland. Here comes the throw one more time for the Hawks. They're in their offensive half, threatening with 1:38. Throw in, cleared away, but not far enough, and Ankeny going to reset. Knocked down. Tori Bonenkamp has been everywhere and makes that knockdown, and Audrey Woods running through a couple players on their way through. Took Sydney Van Howling, out on the way there. That'll be shouldered off of Ankeny, or off Waukee, We're now just a minute left in this extra time. 1 minute to penalties. Battle for it on the far corner. Playing it up the line and just trying to clear it away is Waukee. Waukee finding some space. Nowhere to really go with it, though. Nicely done by Van Howling to handle. Flicked onto the corner. Mackey with it. Nice move around. Finds some space, and now she's going to attack with speed. Has some speed. Here comes Mackey. The star for Ankeny lets one rip. Big save by Lauren Knighty. Lauren Knighty read it all the way in after a beautiful run by Allie Mackey. And that keeps us locked at ones. And likely sends us to penalties as the clock will strike 0 with no winner declared. And with that, we prepare for penalties. We'll reset once again. We'll have a coin flip. That will determine who shoots first, who shoots second, and also which end of the field we will shoot at. Although I think the field caretakers will probably take a look at it as well to determine what's going to be the best option for both of these teams as well, because this field has seen a bit of wear and tear. But we're going to grab captains here for a coin flip. See if I can get any little bit closer. See what I can see or hear. Oh, my headset goes out this far. We're good. Get some quick fist bumps and see what happens. Called by Ankeny. Ankeny will shoot first. And it looks like we're going to go to the far end, the north end of this field for these PKs. Grab my rosters so I know who's shooting what when, as I have to dry it off. Believe it or not, it's still wet. I'd imagine Allie Mackey is going to be one of the shooters for Ankeny, and I'd also imagine that you're going to see Josie Mulehop in there as well. The most dramatic of ways to finish a soccer game. John Schaefer here with you in what's been a great game. Let's recap it really quick. Allie Mackey struck first in the first half. Shortly answered back after the Hawkettes went up 1-0. It was Tori Bonenkamp, the sophomore, from distance, finding an upper 90, made it 1-1, and that's where we've stayed gridlocked through 100 minutes of soccer today. Everyone's going to have to make their way to the north end of the field, and now it all rests on the shoulders of Sylvia Bartlett and Lauren Knighty as keepers for both of these squads. I can only go so much further out here without stressing anybody out. Fortunately, we shouldn't have much interference as the teams will line up at half, or at the midfield, I should say. And we'll get eyes on who's firing away for both of these teams. The benches must stay put, so it's only on-field players. Can be a bit of a guessing game for a keeper. You try and get any mental edge. might see a lean or a cue or anything else that might say this is your goal opportunity or this is where I'm going with it. And stepping out first will be Sydney Van Howling, the junior. For Ankeny. Hawkettes get first shot. I believe it's best of 5. Confirmed on that. Welcome back, Blake.
Thank you. Thank you for holding down the fort for me. I appreciate it.
Happy to be here. You didn't miss much.
Van Howling. Yeah, I was watching in the bathroom. I was keeping track.
Van Howling steps, delivers, goes high and hard, and nothing Knighty can do on that one.
Well, we brought it up at the beginning or a little bit in the middle. This is the first time they faced PKs all year. So it'll be really interesting to see. I think one save probably wins the game here.
One save or one miss.
Yeah.
I think more often than not, it's a miss that settles this over anything.
Lauren Knighty coming out this time.
Going to be Gentry Williams.
Or excuse me, Gentry Williams, yep.
Gentry Williams here.
2 basketball players. They got
all good. They're letting players move up. Let's hope they don't let them move up too much further.
Now Bartlett, like I said, not as much reach here.
He's got to guess. Nearly gets her fingers on that, but that's struck with confidence by Williams, the senior. Doesn't have any goals on the season.
She puts the steam on it.
I'd imagine we see Lainey Haviland, too.
I
She's
believe.
the lone player on this Waukee team with 1 PK.
Which is crazy considering, you go the whole season, you only got 1 total.
And this is going to be Dietz now. Cameron Dietz, the midfielder. No goals this season, a senior. Been an incredibly entertaining game.
So we got 2 for Waukee, 1 for Ankeny.
That's
right
correct.
Now. Yep.
Or no, 1 and 1. It's 1-1.
Yep, gotcha.
Dietz steps, delivers, strikes, and nothing Knighty could do. She guessed wrong, went left, shot went to her right.
That's really all it is. You just take a guess.
You read some body language. You maybe try and cue somebody up a little bit and say, try it. Let's see what we can do.
All right, so 2-1 Ankeny. Yep, you're right. Haviland. Sun's trying to peek out for one last time behind us. Getting our dark clouds here one more time.
It's not any warmer outside of the tent.
No,
I'll tell you
not
that
at all.
much.
Boy, the question is, do you keep it on the ground? Do you push it in the air?
I think you go low and hard to your right. Ooh, struck well. Haviland, no doubt about it, had confidence. And, to be honest, you're seeing Bartlett go the right direction.
Yeah,
I think she's reacting more so than taking a guess, whereas we've seen 2 different. Knighty is taking a guess.
Yep. So now we're at
2-2.
2-2. So
all
this,
tied up.
Yeah, this could be a big one here. I believe this is Steinkamp.
Yep, it's Abby Steinkamp steps up.
Oh!
Saved! Lauren Knighty. Steinkamp tried to play it fast and go low and hard, and Knighty guessed right, makes the save. And now
this is
going to
it,
come.
isn't it? Yeah.
Well, Bartlett's going to have to answer back. I believe it's best of 5, not
Okay.
best of 3.
Okay.
I could be wrong in that.
Our producer, Justin. See, this is what happens, John, when we don't see PKs all year.
Is it best of 5 or 3?
Okay.
Best of 5. We've confirmed with our next game officials.
I wasn't sure either.
It's fitting.
All right, so this is
Mira Horner.
Yep.
Steps. Goes upper corner. That's not many keepers, if any, can make a save on that. You can tell, this is probably the week where they're practicing that. Coach says, this is going to be part of it,
And
so we've got to know who we want to step up.
They knew they had these guys on the schedule, especially after the tie earlier this year. This just proves that they probably would have gone to PKs earlier this year.
Well, now it's Allie Mackey.
It's your leading goal scorer. You'd hope you can get another one on the board here.
One more, basically. And she goes right at her. And that's another big save from Knighty. And one more here puts it away.
That is huge.
As it's currently 3-2. And this would make it.
I think this should do it. This is Lila Putz. Going to be the one to try to put it away here.
Pitts, just a freshman, has been good all game long. Can she put it to bed? Pitts does it to the corner, and Waukee has won it. There you go. They confirm it. Waukee advances in PKs over the Ankeny Hawkettes.
They've tied 6 times this year. That's a class leading. They couldn't physically tie again, so they go to PKs, and Waukee gets the job done. What a game. What an unbelievable game.
2 teams that certainly deserve to be here played their hearts out in a 1-1 draw, and then nothing else you can do but send it to PKs.
I always love a PK celebration because it's like,
did we
win
over? Is our math
The
right?
coaches were the first one out on the field. They knew it was over, but congrats to Waukee.
That's 2 big saves by Knighty.
Huge,
Certainly deserves
huge.
a tip of the cap. She had a couple.
She is covered in mud.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, you're on the call for this late one. I'll be curious to see how the field holds up. It'll be a little sloppy out there, but
congratulations
we'll see what happens.
to Ankeny on a great year, but come up short here in the first round. And Waukee's head coach going over and giving some words to him, which is really nice. So that's really cool.
Certainly a lot of props deserved there, and that's always a tough day. Watching a season end on a moment like that, and you hate that it had to happen in a quarterfinal matchup.
Let's send it here side to our trophy presentation.
Final score here, the IGHSAU soccer team 4, Ankeny 2, Waukee 2, Ankeny 1. Please direct your attention to the field for the medals presentation. In addition to receipt medals, every player will receive a commemorative soccer ball provided by Iowa Farm Bureau, medal sponsor, Iowa Girls High School. Present awards to Nick, IGHSAU, Director Eric, along with soccer. Congratulations to head coach and the Ankeny Hawkettes on an outstanding 2025 season. Waukee fans, direct your attention to the center of the field as Moines advances their team to the next semifinal game. To be played Thursday. Congratulations.
Well, it is a final here. Waukee defeats Ankeny in PKs 4-2, officially in PKs 1-1 after overtime. What a game. What a game. Waukee will take on Waukee Northwest. Boy, that's going to be fun on Thursday night.
Think that's going to be a battle?
Oh, you better get your butt here to Ames. That is going to be a fun one as we get to see these guys here at the state tournament level. Congratulations to Ankeny on another great season. For everyone on our production staff, our producer Justin, for John Schaefer for taking over for me there in the overtimes. As Lauren Knighty gets showered as if she got lucky and wasn't wet all game, and now she gets poured on right in front of the news camera. What a game. Waukee wins. He's John Schaefer. I'm Blake Walker. We'll be back in just a few minutes for Centennial and Johnston. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Soccer Tournament on the Girls Union Digital Network powered by Mid-American Energy Company.